Well, things seem to be getting worse. It's the tour of the international break of discontented, important key Chelsea players, as such of the likes of Enzo Fernandez, who I don't think's covered himself in glory in recent weeks, the way he's speaking. Not about necessarily the project, because I think everyone's done with the project, or at least the vast majority of fans were done with the project. But, you know, in the wake of people saying, well, look, if Enzo's going to, make kissy faces at Real Madrid and do a Thibaut Courtois, yeah, if he's going to do that, then strip him of the armband and give it to Caicedo, who's recently said, I want to stay and become a Chelsea legend. Very nice, good work. Or Marc Cucurella. Might be a little bit of a plot twist here, gang. Because he's doing talkies. He's doing talk, and I ain't going to blame Cucurella here. But the club now, like, they are going to have, because these are good, high-profile, elite players away, talking not positive stuff about Chelsea at the moment, and the club, if they've got anything about them, which, by the way, it doesn't seem like they've got much about them of late, they will have to react to this. In today's content here on Football Therapy, we'll be reacting to an Athletic article. Marc Cucurella's Chelsea concerns will resonate with fans, but will the club act on them? And this is Liam Twomey of The Athletic. Excuse me, I've got I keep clearing my throat because I've eaten foods I'm intolerant to, but they're just so delicious, and therefore it's affecting my delivery here on Football Therapy. But we are going to get into it today. Look, this is the story, man, over this international break. Like, it is players upset, and for all that we've heard, we're hearing, to be honest, I've been saying this on recent pieces of content. The two closest lieutenants to the last head coach, Enzo Maresca, were Enzo Fernandez and Marc Cucurella. I said it yesterday, I said it the day before, I said it long before both their quotes came out, Enzo and Marc. So it doesn't surprise me at all that these are the two players that are criticising the dismissal. Well, the dismissal. The club will tell you he basically engineered an exit. Certain players will be... These two players in question will talk as if he has been sacked. I can't speak English today. And we'll get into it today. So welcome back, gang. How are you doing? Good, I hope. In the office today, utilising this wonderful green screen graphic that's been designed. Here it is. Ding! Look at that beauty! Ding! I'm back. So we're going to get into it. Let's get into it. Right, so March the 31st is the last day of March today. I'm not going to share the whole thing here, but Marc Cucurella has been speaking away on international break. I think this is a follow-up on just the Chelsea lens by Twomey. Chelsea's owners and sporting leadership have grown accustomed to their decisions and strategy being questioned. Yep. Criticised or even mocked by those outside the club, particularly when results start to go awry. But concerns raised from within are much harder to dismiss. Truth, facts, fam, church, preach, etc. In an exclusive interview with The Athletic. Oh, so he did it with The Athletic. So they have the greatest of authority to respond to these comments. Twomey. While an international dite... with Spain, Marc Cucurella was measured with his words, but also honest. Probably more measured than Enzo Fernandez. He admitted he disagreed with Chelsea's decision to part ways with head coach Enzo Maresca at the turn of the year, becoming the second member of the squad's leadership group to publicly lament the Italian's departure after vice-captain Enzo Fernandez saying that he did not understand the decision in a post-match interview with the Mexican broadcaster Tudn, or TUDN earlier this month. Yeah, worth saying, it doesn't surprise me that it's these two guys that are doing it because they were the two real closest to Maresca. Yeah, again, all Spanish speakers. All from different countries, but all obviously Spanish speakers. So they had this sort of close connection with Maresca, and then obviously they're not going to start chatting breeze when Twumi differently, and that's the Liam Ryan's article. Rosenia comes in, and obviously the good start. João Pedro scoring a lot of goals, and maybe the vibes are up there. But when the vibes are down, and regrettably, the vibes are very much down. They're on the floor. I mean, we've all had a nice little break with the international break where we don't have to think about it so much. But this is the reality, gang. This is where we are. It's poor. Let's read a little bit more here, shall we? Cucurella also highlighted what he believes to be a broader issue. This is where shiz is getting real with Chelsea's recruitment. He said the following, gang. I understand this is part of the club's policy. I imagine this was in Spanish, by the way, this interview. And that they want to take this direction. Signing young players and looking to the future, he said. But for all of us who are still here and want to win big things, moments like this make you feel discouraged. Right. He's basically saying players like me, who's like, well, how old is Cucurella? 26, 27? 22? 22? Double checking. 27, bro. He'll be 28 next season. Like, the start of next season, I think. He's not here. I mean, he's won the European Championship with Spain. He's won, obviously, the Club World Cup with Chelsea, the Conference League. He's like, now give me trophies now. Now I want Champions League. I'm a Champions League level winning left back, he'll be thinking. Not, well, let's wait until Esteval's 23 and I can start winning with him, because I'll be gone by then. Do you know what I mean? So I totally get it. You have to understand it from his perspective. We have a good core of players. The foundations are there, and I would agree to an extent, I think. But to fight for major trophies such as the Premier League and Champions League, you need more. Oh, he's saying it. Signing young players only might complicate achieving those goals. Against PSG, we lacked the players that had gone through situations like that. Truth, and this is what everyone was saying, bro. The reaction to setbacks is because they're all a bunch of kids, or just inexperienced. The big characters that stand up, that can react, is just so absent. I was, by the way, on a really fleeting tangent here. I said this on my Instagram. I was watching a channel on YouTube. Forgive me, I forget the name. And it was talking about how good was Maurizio Sarri's Chelsea, and obviously, under Sarri, we finished top 3. We won the Europa League, and it was a really amazing final against Arsenal. We battered them. Hazard's final game, and Giroud scored the opener. It was narrative, but there was lots of discontent. There was a lot of online Twitter fans that loved Sarri ball or Sarismo, but a lot of people weren't enjoying it. I went to the cup final in that season that we lost. The famous Kepa didn't come off vibes. Yeah, when he refused to come off. And we lost to Man City, in the end. I thought we were going to get battered, but we ended up just losing or whatever. Was it penalties or whatever? As I was queuing up, like in Wembley Way, Chelsea fans were all singing and chanting F Sarri ball en route to a cup final. So I was just thinking, and we had Eden Hazard having his best ever season in terms of production. I was watching this YouTube video, at Willian and Pedro, thinking, wow, we really, really, undervalued these guys. Yeah, they weren't sexy and they weren't, scoring high numbers, but they were just always tracking back, pressing and, chipping in consistently with, okay numbers. And there were senior players and they knew how to react to adversity, stuff that we've had, enduring now, what Cucurella is talking about now. We just simply, can't deal with it. And maybe in that Sarri season, a lot of our fans that said, just so bored of watching Willian and Pedro and, Morata's not here, is he? And, what are we? And, there was so much annoyance that Kante was playing as an offensive 8, which actually was probably ahead of his time. It was what Declan Rice is doing at Arsenal. Although I think Kante is just demonstrably better than Declan Rice as a effective midfielder. Yeah, it just goes to show fans are rarely happy. But I do think after the sanctions and the club was sold, there was a lot of patience from Chelsea fans. I genuinely believe that. I think Chelsea fans were very patient. I think there was like this underlying idea that we had this sort of like, are we going to still be a club? You know, because we weren't allowed to make money in the sanction time. And when we got sold and stuff, and that was this weird moment of the Potter and way too many players and wasted money. I think there was loads of patience because they're like, right, well, this will settle and we'll become Chelsea again. It's only these last sort of few weeks and months where we're really learning this is what they're trying to do. You know, not this is what, they're failing to do something. We're going to let them have some time to get it right. It feels more like this is what they want, what we're having, and there is the discontent in the Chelsea fans and some of the players, which is what we're learning about here. We lack the players against PSG to deal with the situations and the setbacks. You need time to develop, and I know the young players are the ones that will have the experience in the future, but you need to find the balance between both worlds. This is pretty much what everyone is saying, gang. His words will resonate with many supporters and outside observers who have been banging the same drum for the last 3 years. Chelsea have always insisted that they are open to signing the right veterans and the right terms, and of course, here it is again, say the line! They held an interest in signing Virgil van Dijk as a free agent last summer. By the way, dodged a bullet there, didn't we? In terms of how he's been playing this season, but that's always the brief. But we've got to sign Van Dijk. Yeah, whatever, man. He opted to renew with Liverpool, as we know. Actions speak louder than words, don't they just? And in the 4th season of Blue Co project, Chelsea squad still have some distance, the youngest average age in the Premier League, 23.5 according to Transfermarkt. Last summer, their new additions, Pedro Joao, who's 23 when he joined the club, Gittins 20, Garnacho 21, Sterbo 18, Yorel Hato 19, Delap 22, Sugo 20, Sarr 19, Buonanotte, pour one out for his Chelsea career 20. Is he even playing for Leeds? What's going on with him? Anyway, at 27, Cucurella, we don't need to screen share over this, Cucurella is one of the elder statesmen at Stamford Bridge, having overcome a rocky start to his Chelsea career. Yeah, he had a wonderful story arc at Chelsea in terms of winning everyone over. And he's established himself as one of the most popular and influential personalities in the first team squad. That status lends authority to his opinion. So this is why this is a big story, gang. And he was keen to stress in a Spain press conference on Monday, he offers them from a position of being happy at the club and settled in West London, which is a little bit more reassuring than what Fernandez has been saying. Chelsea will be happier to hear Cucurella's praise for Liam Rosenior, the coach they plucked from Blue Coast sister club Strasbourg to succeed Maresca in January, but his comments did not generate much optimism that he and the players can summon the big finishing kick they need to qualify for Champions League. He said the following, Cucurella, quote, Liam is a very good person, and I agree with this. I do think he's a good guy, and has been great at handling the group. The characters, fine. Cucurella said of this, of Rosenior, he likes to stay close to us, and his football ideas are good, but we don't have the time to train them. We train on playing in competitive games because we play every 3 days, and this leaves you no time to work on the training ground. In this context, it's normal your plans sometimes don't work out, and we can go through difficult moments. With Enzo Maresca in charge, we were more stable because we worked together for 18 months. If you looked at our first preseason with him, there were doubts. You need to process for every player to understand what we need to do. In our last months with Maresca, we played almost by heart. Probably also worth mentioning, though, Cuckoo, in the last months with Maresca, Chelsea were playing very badly. If we change the system, we knew what to do. You need that time. Look at Arsenal now, who are fighting for every trophy. They've been with Arteta for almost 7 years. And they have not won much. I'm so pleased he threw that extra line in, because it's an important one. But that trust in the project gives rewards. God, the word project again. It's clear that Maresca's mid-season departure was hard for many in the dressing room to process. Neto and Gusto are two others that have gone on record to state their shock in recent months. And Fernandez and Cucurella have made it known with their comments that they regard it as an untimely reset. And like I said, Fernandez and Cucurella are like the ones who loved Maresca the most. So it's not a shock to me that they've been perhaps the most assertive with this. And it becomes the third of the Blue Coats' 4 seasons of ownership to the end of the team outside the Champions League qualification places. The January upheaval at Stamford Bridge will be cited as a major reason why. What lies beyond this season, in any case, is the most critical summer of Blue Coats ownership yet. Dun, dun, dun. Fernandez appears to have adopted a policy of strategic ambiguity when it comes to questions about his future, and is certainly not inclined to rule out the possibility of a move to Real Madrid. He wants to go to Real Madrid. Fernandez wants to go to Real Madrid. I'm sorry, I've heard enough, I've seen enough. That's what he wants. Either he's trying to get the biggest and juiciest of contracts, and that will be enough to quench his first, or take him away from his first of Real Madrid. I say, so if he wants to go, off you go, mate. Cucurella will have 2 years remaining on his contract in the summer, which at the point Chelsea will typically be motivated to extend or sell. Of course, we gave him a pay rise, didn't we, Cucurella? All situations remain open. Blue Coats' strategy has always been for Chelsea to retain their best players. And seek to upgrade the talent around them. That was the dream we were sold. That your Palmers, your Colwills, your whoever's, your Reece Jameses, your Caicedos, maybe your Joao Pedros, the better players will fill in around them. Before you know it, we've got an elite team. That was the dream that was sold to us. But that dream fails if your good players are like, screw this, I'm out, mate. Do you know what I mean? And seek to upgrade the talent around them rather than replacing their key men. Long contracts and lofty valuations mean they hold all the cards in most cases, but there should be no surprise in top footballers developing questions when the momentum around them stalls. Some reassurance and perhaps some revisions to the grand plan may be needed. That is Liam Twomey of The Athletic, who will be getting briefs from Chelsea, saying, pretty much saying, maybe these guys need to change their model. So there's Barcelona stuff here. I regrettably show you. Barcelona move difficult to turn down for Marc Cucurella, who was once of La Masia as well. Chelsea's Marc Cucurella has said it would be hard to turn down a return to his former club, Barcelona. Of course, we bought him from Brighton for a move that went up to £60 million, which in the end, was worth the money. When asked about a return to his homeland, Cucurella said, Spain is always Spain, it's where I grew up, and I always think about going back. And also, it's nice and sunny there, Mark, I understand. But I would prefer to leave it a few years down the line. I'm happy here with life, great experience. Specifically, when he was asked about Barcelona, he said, it is clear if that situation, Barcelona making an offer, did arise, it would be hard to turn down. And he mentions how also you'd have to speak about his family as well, his family situation, his children, his wife and his kids going back to Spain. Maybe they'd want that. He's very clever, Cucurella. Well, as a Chelsea fan, obviously it sucks to hear all your good players being like bun this. But it is a little bit like you sit back, you watch, and you say, look, guys, to these owners and directors, look what's happened to your ruddy plan, mate. Look what's happening to your bulletproof strategy. It's time to change. There's still a time here where you could be like, oh, okay, let's buy some adults and change this quickly before this completely, because they're looking like a bunch of, knobheads. So, they are. They're not looking good to anyone on planet Earth at the moment. They are not looking good to anyone in the footballing world. No one, no matter what, they were getting praise, the owners, not the owners, but like maybe the owners, but there was getting praise within like some footballing groups, people who run clubs, like we respect what Chelsea are doing, we see what Chelsea are doing. Some people trying to emulate what Chelsea are doing. But now, holistically across the board, everyone's like, wow, this is mental. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Please do leave your comments down below. I just want to let you know, a big thank you to those of you who's been engaging with and watching, consuming, and subscribing to the second channel, Football Yannick, where I'm like 20 subscribers off 20,000, which is superb. I'm uploading every day on there. It's nice little palate cleanser for me to upload non-Chelsea content. So yeah, please do check. I think the link's in the description, but you just go on YouTube and search Football Yannick and subscribe if you want to. You don't have to. Do what you want in life, mate. You know what I mean? Life's too short, but if you want to hear me laugh about, Tottenham and Arsenal and stuff, and Man United and City and Liverpool and all them, man, do subscribe to Football Yannick. Other than that, I'll see you soon, hopefully. Take care of yourselves. Peace.